What's up, guys? Today we have another sweet episode for you, another mainline episode, episode number 7. And we are talking Chameleon Twist for the N64. Now, this is one, dude, I loved this game back in the day, and revisiting it was very fun, too. It was very nostalgic, sweet little trip down memory lane. This game originally released in North America December 9th, 1997, dude. So I was like 3 or 4 years old when this came out, which is just fucking crazy to think about. This thing is really, really old, but still holds up to this day, man. I mean, say what you want about the N64 graphics. They weren't great, but who really cares about graphics when the game itself is fun, right? That's all I really care about. That's all that matters to me. And I had a fun time revisiting it. And I just recently found out, and I guess I knew kind of, but this game has multiplayer to it. I had never really played it. I'm probably not going to talk about it that much, but maybe I'll just mention it at the end or something. But yeah, man, I love this game so much, dude. The soundtrack is amazing. The story is there, I guess. I mean, there's not really a story, but it supports whatever we're doing in these worlds, I guess. So yeah, let's just get right into it, man. This game has such a great soundtrack, and I'm probably going to say that multiple times throughout this video, so if that gets annoying, I'm very sorry in advance. But yeah, man, you start out, you hit new game, you get to choose between 4 of these chameleons, right? There's blue one, Davy, orange one, Fred, green one, Jack, and a female one with a bow. Classic female art style here, and that is Linda. You choose any of the 4, and then you get a cutscene, right? You get a sweet cutscene about this rabbit in a top hat carrying a watch. He's talking about running late or something. Whatever chameleon you choose is just kind of watching him, right? And then the dude just proceeds to jump into this magical pot thing. It's like a stew pot, like a witch pot almost. And then your chameleon guy just kind of follows him in, and then you spawn into the first realm, which is basically, this is the extent of the story in this game. That is literally all the story is. It's basically just like Alice in Wonderland type shit. You go into like some sort of dream world or some sort of magical world through this pot. And that's it, man. World number 1 is the jungle world, which you start off in a jungle. So naturally, it makes sense, right? It's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Also, I forgot to mention, you actually look like a normal chameleon kind of in the beginning, and then you transform into like the humanoid version, the one you see on the cover, and the classic Chameleon Twist guy. That's why I never played the second one. I'll talk a little bit about the second one at the end maybe, but if I don't, here's what I'll say. As a kid, I have hated the fact that they changed the art style. I hate the way the chameleons look on the second box still to this day. I definitely plan on playing it eventually. So that game is not going to have any impact on this at all because I've never even played it or watched gameplay of it. But yeah, that's all I'll say, really. I don't like the art style they went with the second game, personally. So let me just explain the gimmick of the game. Basically, the game is a platformer at heart. The way you move around and the way you run around and jump normally like any other platformer, but you can hold B on the N64 controller and shoot out your tongue. And your tongue will kind of extend, and you can grab onto poles and stuff and use them to pull yourself forward. This is basically how you attack as well. You can basically suck up a bunch of enemies with your tongue if you connect it to them, and then you pull them back and then shoot them out. Kind of like Kirby. It's kind of like Kirby, kind of like a makeshift Kirby. And then you can also press the Z button on the back of the controller, can kind of do like a handstand. Well, I guess it's like a tongue stand rather. But you like shoot your tongue downwards, and you basically can just get higher jumps with it. That's all it's really used for, and dodging stuff, I think. But yeah, every level kind of just plays. Every level has its own like unique environment and like artwork and backdrop and whatnot. But they all kind of do the same thing, and you just kind of just play through the level as like a linear platformer kind of level, and then there's a boss at the end. So that's why I'm not gonna really have to get too involved in talking about each level, just because you just play through them. I don't really know what to say about them. I figured this would be kind of a good episode to talk about on the podcast, or a good game to talk about, just because there's not that much. It's not intricate at all. You know what I mean? You're just playing through a fucking linear storyline here, or a linear game with predictable controls, predictable enemies, and it's just good, honest fun, man. I don't know what else to say about it. Level 1 is essentially the tutorial level, you know what I mean? Because you kind of just learn how to use your tongue and how to kill enemies and how to move around in the world. And even like the more advanced controls, because if you hold your tongue out and like grab a pole with it, you can press left or right on your joystick and then A to kind of like swing around in that direction, which becomes like a must learn mechanic later in the game. Even in this level too, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't really know. So once you progress through the jungle part enough, you eventually enter the cave part, which is like, I guess would be like the second half of the map. And this is where you first learn to use that swirl around mechanic I was talking about. If I'm going to upload my whole playthrough to YouTube as well, so you can watch it if you want. I struggled right here just coming back to this and learning this mechanic again. I had no idea how to do it, so I was trying to figure it out. This first part just took me embarrassingly long to do. But yeah, like back to what I said before, each level just kind of has its own gimmick, the way you platform it. Each one is kind of different. This one is all about, in the cave here, it's all about tight walks down these like small bridges, fighting enemies along the way. It's not really that hard. It probably is for a new timer, actually, and someone new. I don't know, dude. It's just that N64 controller is just something else, man. I really don't know what they were thinking with this fucking controller, dude. It's so awkward to hold. I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with the gameplay, rather, but it's just such an awkward fucking controller, man. And the joystick, at least mine, like 25 years later, it's so hard to get used to still, man. I don't know. Like thank God you don't lose off the rip if you fall to your death. You just get put back up and lose a bar of health. I don't know if I talked about the health yet, so let me explain that. You basically get like, I don't know how many it is, maybe 10 or 15 little circles up in the top left of your screen. Every time you hit an enemy, fall off the map, you lose one, and once they all get depleted, you get the game over screen or whatever. But I think you can just hit continue and continue from the checkpoint you left off. So they're actually pretty generous with checkpoints in this game. Except for this one fucking part on Kids World that I'm sure I'll get to later. But yeah, man, you just progress, keep progressing through this cave. You have a couple of these jump obstacles, a couple of these twirl around poles that you have to do, and it's really not that hard. There's like this little minecart section with like these carts that go down these little rails that you have to do. Those slightly hard, but it's not that bad at the end of the day. It's just this level is all about just careful precision, like walking and jumping on these small bridges, really. But let me just talk about the room right before the boss fight. I don't know why this always stuck out to me as a kid. I love this little section of the room. You're basically just you're walking through this long hallway right before the boss battle, and there's like this lava pit below you. You're traveling on like a long rock bridge, and there's like the whole room is like turning. It's like turning. The whole fucking thing is turning with the lava. I don't know why. I don't know even why I'm bringing this up or why I'm even talking about it. Like I can visualize it to you guys. I'm so bad with my words that I really can't. And I'm sure this is just blabbering nonsense, but I always thought it looked cool as a kid. But then, yeah, you go on to the first boss of the game. You hear the classic boss music intro. And this one is arguably the easiest in the entire game. It's this little monkey with like this slick back hairdo. And it's like, he looks so fucking funny, dude. I don't know what. It's a funny design. Do they have names, actually? I'm not sure if they have names, but he's next to this giant ledge that he jumps out of, this giant drop off. All you have to do is suck up these butterflies that kind of come up, and just keep shooting at them and knocks them back until he falls off the edge. And then there you go. There you go, dude. You just beat the first level of Chameleon Twist, and you're about 1/5 through the game. So congratulations, bro. He has a funny little death animation where you think he's going to get back up, right? And then a boulder just comes down, smacks him on the head, kills him off. And then you see stage 1 clear, you see your clear time, you see how many crowns you got, and it'll say congratulations first time, second time, however many lives it took you to beat it. Since I'm such a pro, I did this first time, no problem. And then you get to select your next stage. But what was interesting about this game is you didn't have to go right to level 2. You could choose to go right to 3 if you want to. So there's kind of like, it gives you a little bit of leeway into playing the game on your own accord. The levels are still all the same in general. However, it was cool that you have options. I just played them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numerically, just because, I don't know, call it OCD, call it whatever the hell you want, but I just have to play it in that. Maybe it's autism. Maybe it's retarded autism or something, but I just have to play them in order, bro. I cannot do them out of order. It's like when I go back and play Ocarina of Time every time, I always do like the dungeons in a certain way, even though some of them you can do before others. I always do them in a certain way, bro. I have to. I don't know what it is. I have to. So moving on to level 2 is Antland. This one is it's very weird, man. There's just a bunch of ants like everywhere, constantly, everywhere. So you can have a field day with these fuckers. You can just scoop them up with your tongue and shoot them out, man. Soundtrack on this map is very underrated too. Not my favorite, but it's definitely a certified actual banger, dude. This map also has plenty of the twirl around. That's what I'm going to call it now, I guess. I'm just going to call it the twirl around platforming, or twirl around tongue move, whatever it is. The one where you swing around in a giant circle. You utilize that a lot because you have to swing and knock over these little ant guys, these big ant guys with shoes on. I don't know, dude. This fucking game sounds so weird when I talk about it, bro. So that's pretty much it. You're basically just killing a bunch of enemies, devouring a bunch of small ants, using them to kill the larger ants, clearing ants out of your path, and then you eventually make it to the boss of this, which is kind of unique. It's like a giant queen ant. She's got a huge, thick ass too. Like, it's beyond thick. Like, look it up if you haven't seen it and you're just hearing about it now. Super, super thick, bro. There's a pole that spawns in the middle, and you have to do this twirl around method to trip this bitch up. You trip this bitch up, she kind of falls on her back, and then you use the little small ants she spawns to hit her. And you do that 5 times, I believe. I think it's 5 or 6 times, and then you kill her dumbass. And the only thing she does to attack you back is she'll stand on like her tiptoes and swirl that giant ass around in a giant circle. And all you really got to do is avoid it through jumping, through dodging, and through the spin move you can use on the pole in the center. So yeah, this boss was interesting. Not the hardest one in the game by far. Not the easiest though. Some of the timing and some of the the distance you need can be a little tough to figure out the first time, but overall, it's simply not too bad, fellas, okay? It's simply not too bad. It's funny because you kind of see the little ant minions bring her dead body over to the clear screen, and you can see them just drop it off. They're like, okay, she's dead, bro. We got to move on with our lives. And then we move on to stage 3, which is Bombland. Bombland, as it sounds like, you use these bombs to kind of progress through the level. It kind of has like this carnival kid theme to it, kind of. There's these giant bomb guys that fly with arms and legs for some reason. You have to use them to suck them up and then kill these little bomb chain guys. Like there's these chain guys you can't suck up. You have to use the bomb guys to explode them. This map was kind of mid in my opinion. It's like very average, very not too much to say about it. Soundtrack is pretty decent. you get to these kind of rooms in this game that have like these cracked little rocks on them. You have to use the rocket guys to finish off the boulders or these rocks or squares that you have to stand on. But you have to make sure to not do them too much because you have to use them to as like a staircase. So you have to blow chunks off of them to get them walkable, essentially, or get them jumpable so you can make a path for yourself and go upwards. Kind of interesting to figure out the first couple times. It's kind of just the classic platforming and puzzling up until this point, too. You kind of just go through a few more rooms here. And then you get to this unique kind of room that reminds me of Mario 64, where you have you walk on a bridge, and as you're walking on it, the floor is falling below you. And there's these cannons that follow and track you and try to shoot you as you're walking through this thing, too. I find the best method here is to just kind of speed run the fuck out of it and just kind of keep jumping, keep running full speed so you can just get to the end without getting shot, hopefully. And then it's just your classic Chameleon twist level progression. You're just kind of, using your tongue to move around the map here, progress the map. All of this happening with absolutely zero story development as well. So, it's just, you're still just traversing these levels, following the stupid rabbit from the beginning. And that's really it. You have to use the bomb guys to detonate these grenade guys that have arms. To progress the level. You do that for a couple rooms and then you move on to the boss. And this boss was actually very annoying. It's basically a giant bomb snake. It lays bombs behind it, kind of like Bomberman. And what you have to do is you have to suck up these bombs with your tongue, and you have to shoot the bombs on his body until there's none left. This boss feels oddly familiar to something, but I cannot name it off the tip of my tongue. Or it's on the tip of my tongue. I cannot just think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, you basically just keep shortening him until he dies. But the thing about him is every time you shorten the bombs he has attached to him, like every time you get rid of part of his body, he moves faster and lays more bombs. And he breaks the floor underneath you into lava too, so you really have to get this done quick or it just becomes so much to handle because you just keep getting fucked by these goddamn bombs all the game. But he's not bad. He's just annoying. I think it took me 2 tries to beat this dude, but it really wasn't that bad at the end of the day. And then we move on to arguably my favorite map. I think Stage 4 is probably my favorite. Stage 4 is the Desert Castle, which by far has the most interesting atmosphere. It's called Desert Castle, right? But there's not really a castle at all. It's, how do I describe this? Like, it's like a really cool, like, purple sky backdrop. Like, I love the backdrop on this map. And you're walking through, like, a desert, I guess. But it's not really like a castle. There's a lot of spike traps. There's, like, eagle enemies. And let me just say, the soundtrack on this map, I don't know why. To me, it sounds like the song Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. If you like about halfway through that song, when it gets to like the weird bridge part and like the instrumentals are very weird sounding. I can't describe music to save the life of me, so fucking bear with me here. But yeah, it really sounds like that. I swear to God it does. I swear to God they copied it. Because I'm telling you, go listen to Kashmir by Led Zeppelin about halfway through it when it gets to the one different section, and then listen to Desert Castle, Chameleon Twist. It sounds vaguely similar, and I'm not even trolling when I say that. But yeah, I love the soundtrack on this map because it reminds me of Led Zeppelin, which is very cool. And just the vibe of this map, the aesthetic of this map is just very cool in general. So I really enjoyed playing through this one. I forgot to mention the rabbit is at the beginning of each level to give you kind of an overview if you want to about what the level is and essentially what you're going to face, but it doesn't really tell you all that much. This one's interesting, right? Because you're fighting more with the environment than enemies in this, I feel like. Definitely fighting more with the environment. Dude, I forgot. I really struggled with this map because this is where you have to make use of kind of a new mechanic. Well, new to me anyway. You know how I said you press the Z button to kind of do like a tongue stand earlier? Well, if you press the joystick all the way in one direction and Z at the same time, you kind of do this big swing. And at the apex of the swing, at like a very certain point, you have to press A, and then it gives you like a boosted jump, and you have to utilize that in this map. And that's just a mechanic I struggled with because the timing is like so crucial. You have to like nail the timing on this A press, and then you also have to make sure your swing is like very good as well, because if you have a weak swing, then you're not going to go very high. It's actually kind of a hard mechanic to pull off, but yeah, you have to utilize it in this map to progress, which is kind of shitty because I'm bad at it, but it's not that bad at the end of the day. So also, I just want to mention really quick that the birds in this, like, they're like eagles. They're like, the enemies are like eagles, but they just look so fucking weird, man. They look so like demonic almost. They're just really creepy looking. Thought it was a nice touch. Also, this one has arrows coming out of the wall. There's like these little sections of the wall that have a circle on them. You can tell very clearly, looks like a cannon or something. And then they shoot arrows out. So that's just another thing you have to look for and dodge. But what's interesting about it is you can actually suck up the arrows. So you kind of I put my tongue in front of these as like a safety mechanism for myself because I'm a big brain gamer like that. There's this one section where it's like a giant wooden swing, kind of like from Mario 64, you know, where they have the giant ship thing. It's not Mario. I just can't remember what it is. It's like a giant swinging thing that goes left and right. Kind of similar to that, which it just feels like home, man. It feels like home to a platform enjoyer like me. There's like these giant quicksand slides that you have to slide down. You don't necessarily fall into the quicksand and get like sucked up and die, but it's basically just like a giant sand slide where you have no control of your character. There is pillars you can grab onto, or little poles you can grab onto to, you know, use your tongue to move around. But I was never able to hit any of them. I just kind of slide down the thing and hope for the best. That's kind of what I did. There's like these boulders that fall down and try to kill you as well as this is happening. All of this happening with just such a banger soundtrack in your head going as well. I'm sorry, I can't keep mentioning. I can't keep getting away with how I mention it, but it's just so fucking good, bro. I cannot reiterate how good it is to you guys. Go listen to it, please. Then eventually you do some more platforming. You eventually get to this sand belt, like conveyor belt kind of thing. I don't know, dude. I cannot talk right now. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I didn't really take too many notes on this. I'll just mention really quick. I didn't take too many notes on this because I could just watch my gameplay at faster speed and just kind of talk about what I'm seeing. I'm trying something a little new here, so it might not work out. Maybe notes were better, but I'm trying something new here, seeing if it works out better for me. Still trying to improve at this, so give me some time here. Give me some time. Like I said, you get to this little slow moving thing. I don't know how to describe this, bro. I need to get better at this. Holy fuck, I'm so stupid. The sand is like slowly pushing you off a ledge. You have to use the poles in the ground to kind of slowly drag yourself through and make it to the other side. Not too difficult though. And then once you're done traversing that, you finally get to this like magic carp kind of level, kind of like the rainbow one in the that one area of Super Mario in the upstairs Super Mario 64. It's exactly like that level. You have to use these magic carpets to jump to one another, and then they take you to the other one, and then you basically just have to keep jumping, keep landing jumps through them, and get to this section. Dude, did they just copy this level or this section out of Mario? I need to check the release date. Give me 1 second. So yeah, Super Mario came out. I know they're slightly different for Japan, but I'll just say the American dates because I'm American, man. I'm American, brother. September 29th, 1996 is when Super Mario 64 came out, and Chameleon Twist came out December 9th, 1997. So there was like a full year ahead. They might have very well just been inspired from Super Mario 64, which is actually pretty cool. So if they were, props to that game, because that game is legendary. That's definitely one I plan on reviewing. When these episodes get better, I'm kind of just trying to talk about shit I love, but not all the good stuff I love. Like, I'm going to hold on to like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and like Mario 64 and all the big heritage titles that I love personally until these episodes get better. I want to have like at least maybe 20 or 25 or maybe even 50 episodes under my belt before I talk about those ones. just because I want them to be the highest quality they can. You know what I mean? Because I love those games with all my heart, and they need to be perfect to me. You know what I mean? Then once you're finally done with this the lesbian section, once you're done with the lesbian section of Chameleon Twist, you finally move on to the very last part of the actual level, where you're just running through this little sand environment, and there's like these little sand worms that will eat you if you fall down this little... It's basically the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars, except they're like these little autistic worms instead of whatever the hell the Sarlacc is. And then that's it, man. You move on to the boss, which was, I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you're hearing this. This was probably the most disappointing boss in the game, dude. Because for such a sick level with Desert Castle, the environment is sick. The enemies, like the eagles, are cool. The spikes are cool. Just the whole vibe is so cool. And then the boss in this level is just a goddamn dung beetle. It's like this just shitty brown beetle. Really just does not fit the... I was hoping for like a giant bird or something cooler coming back to it, but... Because I think this is about the point in the game where I've finished playing as a kid. I don't think I ever made it past Desert Castle. I actually think I was stuck on Desert Castle when I was younger, as a 5 or 6 or 7 year old, however old I was playing this game. So I never got to see this boss, and coming back to it now, it's just... I don't know, man. I'm just not impressed with it, especially because it's so easy too. This thing dies like such a little bitch, dude. I have the hiccups too. I don't even know why. Sorry, dude. I don't know what the fuck's happening, bro. So yeah, the beetle, basically, I'll tell you what it does, and it's very disappointing, like I said. It does this little rolling jump thing. It's not very fast at all, and it's very predictable. It does like this rolling jump. Every time it hits the ground, it spawns like these little... What the fuck even are they, dude? They're like these little They're like little sand guys. I think they're like little crabs or something. You basically suck one of them up, and then the beetle will stop this attack. He'll stand still for a moment, and it's just very easy to attack him during it. So that's all you got to do. Suck up one of these crab things, wait for him to stop jumping, shoot at him. And then you do that like 5 times. And that's really it. That's literally the entire boss fight. So yeah, congratulations. You just beat the bees. Debatably the easiest boss in the game. It's either between this or the monkey. I don't know which one's easier. Probably this guy. Or probably the monkey, actually, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this guy dies like a bitch. Dies like an absolute bitch. Or maybe it's an armadillo. I don't know what the fuck this thing is. It's like a beetle armadillo thing, dude. I don't know what the hell it is. And then you move on to Kids Land, which this map gave me the most trouble out of them all, to be completely honest with you. The soundtrack for this is just very child sounding. It sounds like a kid's game. It's very odd. It sounds like a kid's birthday party. This whole map is just very odd. Very odd map. You have to make use of a lot of the twirl method on this one. And just good platforming in general will carry you through this map. That's why you have to have good platforming, or else you can't make it through this map. There's one section of this map at the very, like close to the very end, like right before the boss fight, where you have to do this really, really, really long platforming session. Really long platforming session, really long spin session. Like you have to have all the fucking parkour moves to make this work, and if you don't, you have to start from the very beginning again, and it sucks, man. And I'm pretty sure the enemies you fight are ice cream sandwiches with eyes too, which is really funny, dude. It's on the cover of the game if you need to look it up. It's so funny looking, man. They just look so funny, dude. Little ice cream sandwiches, bro. Yeah, everything in this map is basically just resembles a little kid's birthday party. Like, there's like little wafer crackers that are like you use as platforming. There's like these little, I don't know what the hell they are. Maybe ice cream sandwiches that you platform on that you like ride. Maybe they're like little fudge squares. I don't know what the hell they are, but yeah, it's just a cool fucking kids land, I guess. I don't know. It's like a creepy kids land if you're on LSD and this is what you're seeing. Most of the little enemies are like dominoes or something, and then there's like these bigger guys that jump around, and you have to use the little guys to kill them. It's just to open the next door. It's not that hard. It's just very odd, these enemies, the way they look. And then there's this one puzzle section that I actually do really like. There's this little like shrine of light coming up off these little wafer things. There's a pole in the center. You have to use the spin method to kind of make yourself land on the next one without touching the floor. So you have to have really good platforming spin skills here to kind of hit all the lights so you can move on to the next section. I actually really like this. It comes back again with more pads that you have to land on, but it's just a pretty cool section to get through. You have to Smuckers. You have to Smuckers jelly. You have to suck up some of the little small guys to shoot at these graham cracker wall targets to shove them back into the wall so you can move on to the next section. I realized that sentence I just said would put me in a psych ward if it was heard out of context at all. Like, I can't imagine, like, if somebody's hearing me talk about this right now and they're not sure what I'm talking about, they probably think I'm clinically fucking psychotic. Which is it's just such a fucking weird design for a game, dude, or a weird design for a level. So interesting though. So after some more vigorous ice cream sandwich platforming and Hershey's chocolate platforming, you move on to arguably the most, actually not even arguably, this is the most annoying platforming section in the game. You have to. I cut so much bullshit out of this in my actual playthrough just because it's just like 30 minutes of me just griefing platforming. You have to have the most perfect fucking timings here, jump timings, twirl timings here to just progress through this part. And I'm not going to say too much about it, but what I will say is it's fucking annoying, dude. This is just a very long section of perfect platforming, and if you screw up one time, then you have to start it all over again. And what I will say is, if you guys are familiar with the Super Mario 64 camera, sorry I keep comparing the two, but it's just, there really is no game that's more comparable to Chameleon Twist than that. It really has a similar like jumping platforming mechanics, but yeah, if you're familiar with the camera, with the yellow buttons you have to press to kind of move it around, and you know it's really not that great. The kind of similar thing here, you know, it gives you the option to press those buttons to move the camera around so you can get different views. But the thing about the camera is it sucks ass in this game, dude. Like, the default camera is truly the best one to use. Trying to manipulate the camera so you can get better jumps is just annoying. It's like almost impossible. They really just didn't have cameras figured out in these games until way later, which is fine. It's a product of the time. I'm not going to knock it too hard for that, but yeah, this platforming section was very difficult for me. And then once you're done with that rigorous platforming session on top of ice cream, you face the boss of Kids World, which is 4 of those little normal guys. I don't know what the hell they are. They look like little domino bricks. Maybe they're like little ice cream sandwich bars. I don't know what the hell they are, but they jump into the strawberry cake. Yes, you are fighting 4 small domino guys within a strawberry cake. They all have this thing they push to make it work. And then after they're done with their attack, they pop out and they're kind of pushing this thing along. All you have to do is just eat all 4 of them, one after the other. Once you eat one of them, they'll close the cake back up, do their attacks. All you have to do is run around and dodge them. Not the most difficult thing in the world. Opens up, eat another one of these little creatures, and just rinse, repeat 4 times. And then that's it, man. Congratulations. You just beat the strawberry cake of the Kids World boss, which was arguably, I don't know. This one was pretty easy as well. I don't think any of the bosses are really that hard, except the final one is kind of annoying. He's like slightly hard, but it's not that bad. But yeah, you move on to Ghost World, I believe. Or what is it called? Oh, my bad. It's called Ghost Castle. So apparently there's 2 castles in this game. There's a desert castle, which takes place outside of a desert. It's not really inside a castle at all. But this one, I guess, would be inside of a castle because you're mostly on the interior of the map. This one has a certified hood classic soundtrack. I love it. And to be honest, this map really doesn't do that much different from gameplay as far as the other ones go. I would say that one section, that last platforming section of the Kids World, was infinitely harder than anything this map has to offer. This map has like floating barrels that are like rotating pole platforms. You have to just carefully do the swirl around. and then land on, the barrels to just move along. It's really not that much, guys. It's not that hard. There's a stair section with haunted sandals that you have to walk up a staircase to and then move on to this one part. This description is fucking killer. I'm sure I'm painting a great picture for you guys in your heads about what the hell's going on here. But yeah, you move on to this room. It rotates around, kind of like that one room in the Forest Temple of Ocarina of Time. If you know, you know. You eventually make your way to this interesting room that has like mirrors that show what the character, like they show your character up close. There's this haunted silverware in place you have to use to break the mirrors to move on to the next part. And the next part is actually a pretty cool platforming thing. There's these little fire enemies that spawn. There's a bunch of candles that line the walls with a very dead space between all of them. There's just a floor with nothing. I mean dead space as in just no floor, not the horror game. That's amazing. But you use the fire enemies to light the candles, and then once you light the candles, a path slowly starts building for you. There's these little wooden floor tiles that rise up, and you basically just have to grab the fire enemies and shoot your path, do some good platforming, and then just take your path across the way to progress. Pretty cool. You get to this one little rotating room that really reminds me of the Boo merry-go-round from the Ghost World in that game of Super Mario 64. There's the comparison again. Once you get to that, then there's another one of those sections I talked about before with the candles you have to shoot to light your path up. Before you eventually get to one of those mirror rooms I talk about again, you shoot the mirror breaks, or the right one breaks, you break the right one, and then you can eventually move on to the next part, which is just a room where there's like a bunch of these mummy eyes that shoot the fire at you. You can either shoot the fire back at them and kill them, or run away if you want to. Killing these guys doesn't really give you anything, so I just kind of run past them. Then you make it to the next room, which is a lot very, very careful walking and platforming through these very, very, very small wooden boards that you have to just walk through without dying to the fire guys. Pretty easy though. You could just take it slow and you just walk through it, no problem, easy peasy. However, if you get to the end and fall, you still have to start off at the very beginning, which is kind of annoying. But as long as you take it slow, make calculated movements, it's not the hardest thing in the world. Then once you finish that little platforming section, you are on to the final boss of the entire video game. And I genuinely have zero idea how to describe this thing. It's like a samurai like thing. Okay, so I'll basically, here's what, okay. Okay, so there's like the sandals from earlier, right? Those are its shoes. There's a bunch of barrels. It has these long arms with like those mummy ghost cyclops things. You have to eat the colored balls on the arms of this thing. And then this boss actually has a second phase too. So once you eat the colored balls on this thing's arms to destroy its arms, it'll move on to its second phase. So its arms kind of fall off, those little mummy things die, and then it kind of does this transformation phase between the first and the second look. And the second look is more of like a go-kart kind of thing. And then it'll go around and shoot. It moves really, really fast. So it'll move, shoot a bunch of balls out at you, move again. And basically all you have to do is suck up a giant thing of these white balls. You have to suck on these Caucasian balls, and then you can shoot them back at it. But here's the thing. It has no health bar. You have to hit a certain amount of consecutive shots without missing, or not without missing, but just land a certain amount of consecutive shots. Because if you don't, like as you shoot this thing, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you kill it. But if you don't kill it, then it just kind of regains its full HP and size. So you have to have like a very good volley of balls at this thing to kill it off. I play a lot of Zenyatta in Overwatch, so I'm used to the Zenyatta volley right click. So, this was no problem for me. My Overwatch skills transferred over. And then once you do that, once you shoot a solid volley of white balls onto this thing, you kill it, man. And that is the end of Chameleon Twist. That is the very final thing you do in the campaign anyways. And what a game, right? It's not very long. It's not very long, but it's a fucking gem, dude. It's an actual gem of a game. It's a gem of a game, dude. I love this goddamn game. Very underrated. So once you kill the final boss, the credits start rolling. You're in this little white land. You're seeing all of the producers and stuff's names. You're seeing all the people that worked on the game. Your Chameleon you're playing as is kind of just platforming through this world with a white backdrop and like wooden platforms he's kind of just going on. And that's it, man. This is the game, bro. The credits will scroll for a while, and then you finally come back up to the bunny that you see in the beginning of the game, right? And he's like, "Oh, you followed me all the way here." He goes, Did you enjoy your adventure? Come visit us soon. Come visit us again sometime, and we'll be waiting for you." And then all that really happens is he shoots you out of the magic pot from the beginning. Except for this time, your Chameleon is wearing a backpack now, which is, I don't know why. I think it has something to do with the sequel, probably, I would say, because I'm pretty sure the Chameleon on the cover is wearing a backpack, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of cool that it plays into that, but that's like, guys, that is the entire story of Chameleon Twist. You as a chameleon follow this rabbit into this LSD trip, or this acid trip, or whatever. This acid trip pot, you trip balls through 6 levels of different shit. You climb back out, and then that's it. That's literally the entire story of this game, which is just wild to think about. And then, yeah, it just says the end at the very end. It tells you how much time it took to beat. For me, it was 1 hour and 11 minutes. So yeah, that's what I love about this game too, man. You can put a solid hour into it. If it's your first time, it might take you a little longer. I kind of knew this game from way back then already, so it didn't take me that long. But yeah, it's only an hour of my time, and I had a blast reliving the nostalgia of this game. How popular was this game, by the way? Because I feel like I hear nobody else besides me and my brother. Occasionally we'll talk to each other about this game sometimes. I feel like I never ever see anything about this game online, like ever, even the sequel. Never hear about this game at all. I feel like it's one of the underdogs that kind of just got overshadowed by, Zelda and Mario 64 and Mario Kart and GoldenEye. All the big hitters, this one kind of just slid under the radar, but man, if for some reason you haven't played this before and you're hearing this, please just go play it. Go emulate it. If you can't find it anywhere, don't pay a ridiculous amount of money for this cartridge, or just watch my gameplay on YouTube. Subscribe to Jerry app. I don't know why I said that, guys. That was cringe, but yeah, it's a good game, man. I really do love this game, man. So that's really it. That's the entire campaign. Let me just talk about the multiplayer briefly. I honestly didn't even know there was multiplayer in this game. I always just played the campaign when I was a young boy. But apparently the multiplayer is, it's like a typical battle royale style. Last man standing wins. Is it 2 people or 4 people? Let me check actually. So it is actually 2 to 4 players. It's basically there's a time trial mode, and then there's like a battle royale mode where last chameleon standing wins. That sounds like fun. It could be fun, but I feel like there's probably just way better multiplayer options on the N64. Don't know how much replayability there is for something like this, but I'd be interested to try. I just have nobody to play with, and I'm not gonna be like, "Yo, guys, come over. Let's play some fucking Chameleon Twist." You know what I mean? Like, that's just not a sentence that I would say in the year 2024. But yeah, man, that's really it. That's really it. So let me. I'll tell you what. Let me take a piss. Let me take a sip of water. Let me collect some thoughts here, and then we'll come back into the outro really quick. All right. Don't want this one to be too long. So yeah, let's just do that really quick. So that was Chameleon Twist, brought to us in 1997 from the glorious, Japan Works Software. I think that's what it's called, Japan Supply System. Their little cat logo is awesome too, by the way. But yeah, that's just that is a piece of Jerry history that I hold near and dear to my heart, man. That game was very cool. I loved playing it when I was younger. The worlds just seemed so huge, and it just seemed like there was so much to explore. There's just so much charm in games back then. I don't know, man. I just love it. Outro's not going to be too long. Just going to talk a little bit about, I'll mention what I'm playing really quick and then what's next for the channel. So, just still playing Overwatch. Still playing a lot of Overwatch. Not going to stop on that soon. Jade Zenyatta orbs are coming soon. I almost have them done. I've been slacking. I've been playing a lot more comp lately. So we're going to get those soon. New Halo event just dropped. It's whatever, it added Spartan points so you can get vaulted cosmetics. And those are going to swap out too. So that's a nice change. I'm about to finish the battle passes though. So I think I have like 5 more levels on the Banished Hope one, which is the new one, and then like 5 more on a different one. And then honestly, once I'm done with that, I probably won't touch it again for a while until they add like meaningful content. I don't know, getting slightly bored of it. I'm playing ranked snipers, which is pretty cool. They added ranked snipers. So that's kind of fun. And then besides that, I'm just figuring out the next game to play for the podcast. I played a game of Mario Kart 64. Might talk about that next. But I kind of want to take a break from N64 games for now. Maybe play something else. Because this is number 2 I've played, or number 3 or 4 I've played. I tried the South Park one, didn't work out. Tried a Stratosphere, didn't really care for it. Played through Pokemon Stadium. Played through Chameleon Twist. Playing a little bit of Mario Kart 64. So we'll see how that goes. But that's really it, man. That is really it. I'm not going to do a Die Rise episode tomorrow. I don't think. I'm going to try to record a mini-sode for tomorrow. Don't know what it's going to be quite yet. But yeah, man, that's really it. We're going to sign off here, okay? That's Chameleon Twist. Thanks a lot for listening. Leave a comment. I'm up to 3 subscribers now, guys, which means 2 of you are legit. One of them is my other YouTube account, which is kind of shameless, but whatever. But two people subbed to me this month, which is cool, man. If you're here, if you hear this, let me know, man. I'll shout you out. It does not tell me which YouTubers subscribe by name. I'm assuming for like anonymous reasons, anonymity reasons. I can't talk. Holy shit, I'm retarded. But yeah, just let me know, man. I'll shout you out. Let me know if you want to see something. Let me know if you want me to play something. But it's just cool, man. The channel is slightly growing, so that's very cool to see. But yeah, thanks again, guys. I appreciate all of your patience with me. I'm trying to grow this thing. Not trying to grow it, but I'm just trying to get better at my job here. I'm trying to, speak better, trying to figure out a system that works for me to talk about the games best. Just trying to see what works for me in general, The mainline episodes are a little tougher for me because they have to be somewhat scripted. I have to talk about the games in a way that's not completely boring, which I'm trying my best, guys. I really am, to describe shit. But just what you're seeing in the game is just so hard to describe, especially in this game sometimes because the art is so weird. But yeah, man, that's it. I'm not going to go on too long, so that we'll cut it there. Thanks again for listening. Keep it real. Goodbye.